There's a strange thing that happens to almost everyone on January 2nd. The gym is packed, the notebook is fresh, the motivation feels unstoppable, and by February the parking lot is empty again. Not because people are lazy, not because they lack willpower, but because of something almost nobody stops to question. What if the goal itself was never the problem? That question sat in the mind of a college baseball player named James Clear, right after a swing of a bat shattered half the bones in his face. He was 17. The injury was so severe, doctors had to put him into an induced coma just to save his life. Most people would have called that the end of an athletic career. Clear called it the beginning of an obsession. Not with talent, not with motivation, but with the tiny, almost invisible actions that quietly decide who we become. Years later, that obsession turned into one of the most influential ideas in modern psychology of behavior, a book that would go on to sell over 20 million copies. Not because it promised transformation, but because it exposed a lie almost everyone believes about change. Here's the lie. We think transformation comes from massive action, a dramatic decision, a turning point. But Clear discovered something uncomfortable. Big change rarely comes from one big moment. It comes from thousands of small, unnoticed choices compounding quietly in the background of your life. Think about a plane leaving Los Angeles for New York. If the pilot adjusts the course by just 1 degree, the passengers won't feel a thing. Nothing looks different in the first few minutes. But stretch that 1 degree shift over a 5-hour flight, and the plane doesn't land in New York anymore. It lands in Washington, D.C. That's the hidden mathematics of habits. You don't feel the effect of a single workout, a single page read, a single dollar saved. So your brain assumes it doesn't matter. But it's not measuring the action. It's measuring the direction. And direction, repeated daily, becomes destiny. This is where most people go wrong without even realizing it. They set goals, lose 10 pounds, write a book, build a business. But goals are strange creatures. The moment you achieve one, the satisfaction fades, and you're left chasing the next one. Athletes who win championships often feel empty right after, not fulfilled. Why? Because a goal is a finish line, and a finish line, once crossed, disappears. So if goals aren't the answer, what is? Clear's answer reframes everything. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. A goal is the outcome you want. A system is the process that actually produces that outcome. Someone with a goal to lose weight might succeed for a season. Someone with a system, a repeatable, sustainable set of daily behaviors, becomes a different kind of person entirely. Not someone chasing a result, but someone who no longer needs to. And that leads to the most quietly radical idea in the entire book. We think habits are about what we do. Clear argues they're actually about who we believe we are. Picture 2 people trying to quit sugar. One says, "I'm trying to avoid sugar." The other says, "I'm not a sugar eater." Same behavior on the surface, but completely different psychological foundations. The first person is relying on willpower, fighting a craving every single time it appears. The second person isn't fighting anything. Sugar simply doesn't belong to their identity anymore. Every habit, according to Clear, is really a vote for the kind of person you believe yourself to be. Skip the gym once, and it's just a missed day. But cast that vote enough times, and you're no longer someone who occasionally skips workouts. You become someone who doesn't work out. Identity isn't discovered. It's built, one small repeated action at a time. Which raises an unsettling question. If identity is built through repetition, how exactly do habits form in the brain in the first place? Why does scrolling your phone feel effortless while reading a book feels like work, even when you enjoy both? The answer lies in a 4-part loop hiding underneath almost everything you do. First comes a cue, something that triggers your brain, like a notification lighting up your screen. Then comes a craving, the desire for the feeling that follows, not the action itself. After that, a response, the actual behavior, checking the phone. And finally, a reward, a small hit of relief or pleasure that teaches your brain to repeat the cycle next time. This loop isn't good or bad, it's neutral. It's simply how the brain conserves energy by turning repeated actions into automatic ones. The problem is that most people are unconsciously designing this loop around convenience instead of intention. Junk food is engineered to be craveable. Social media is engineered to reward you unpredictably. the same psychological trick used in slot machines. Meanwhile, the habits that actually improve our lives, exercise, deep work, learning, often have no built-in reward at all. The benefits show up months later, invisible in the moment. So the brain, which is wired for immediate feedback, quietly chooses the easier loop. This is why Clear says you don't need more motivation. You need a better environment. Willpower is a limited resource, but environment works while you're not even paying attention. If you want to eat healthier, you don't need more discipline. You need to put the fruit on the counter and hide the cookies in the back of a cabinet you never open. If you want to read more, leave the book open on your pillow. If you want to stop wasting hours on your phone, leave it in another room while you work. Environment design isn't a hack. It's a redirection of the same automatic system that built your bad habits in the first place, except now it's working for you instead of against you. But even the perfect environment eventually meets resistance, because humans have another built-in bias. Clear exposes with startling clarity. We're wired to overvalue immediate rewards and undervalue future ones. This is why a cigarette feels good now and a heart attack feels distant. Why a treat feels good today and the extra weight feels abstract next month. Every bad habit delivers an immediate reward with a delayed cost. Every good habit demands an immediate cost for a delayed reward. And the human brain, evolved for survival in a world without long-term planning, almost always chooses the thing that feels good right now. Which is why Clear introduces one of the book's most quietly brilliant strategies. Make the reward immediate. Not someday. Now. If you want to build a habit of saving money, open an account labeled with the exact reward you're saving for. If you want to build a habit of exercising, pair it with something you already enjoy. An audiobook you only allow yourself to listen to during workouts. When you make good habits immediately satisfying and bad habits immediately unsatisfying, you're not relying on willpower anymore. You're working with human nature instead of against it. And this is where all of it quietly connects into something larger than habits themselves. Because underneath every routine, every craving, every small daily decision, there's a deeper truth. Clear circles back to again and again. You do not need to be a completely different person to build a better life. You only need to become slightly better, consistently in a direction you actually believe in. Most people overestimate what they can do in a single day and dramatically underestimate what they can build in a single year of small, boring, unglamorous repetition. The people who transform their lives are rarely the most motivated in the room. They're simply the ones who showed up on the days it didn't feel worth it. Somewhere between the version of you today and the version of you a year from now, there's a series of choices so small they'll feel meaningless in the moment. A walk instead of the couch, a page instead of the scroll, a decision instead of a delay. None of them will feel like progress. And that's exactly the point, because the compound interest of self-improvement is invisible until, one day, it isn't. If this made you see your own habits differently, imagine what the rest of this channel could show you. Subscribe to Proven Pages, because the next idea might be the one degree that changes where you land.